you feel a connection to someone, do they feel it also? Or if you're feeling a connection to someone, is that person also feeling that connection? Whenever it comes to connecting with another person, a lot of times, depending on the feeling, it's a mutual thing. What I mean by that is, for example, if it was a situation where you were interested in the connection, you were interested in that person, but you didn't know anything of how the situation was going to turn out. You didn't know whether or not this person is the type of person that you would vibe with. It was one of those things where you met them, some semi-connection happened, and so you agreed to actually, maybe go out on a date with this person or just continue things further. And you're not really feeling like, oh my gosh, like, this is it, this is the one I'm gonna marry. Like, it's kind of like just, you're very calm and you're just interested to see where it goes. You're interested to see how the interaction actually flows. And it ends up being a situation where you end up having a lot in common with this individual. And it's probably been a long time since you've met someone that you connected with intellectually. You may be the type of person to where, yes, certain things do catch your attention, or yes, certain things do draw you in, but something that you really, really value is when someone can match your energy intellectually in your mind. And this person has done that. You and this person have connected on many different things, and you felt it on the inside. So yes, you're connecting intellectually. On the inside, you felt more drawn to this individual because it felt like, and I've used this example before, but like if you're a puzzle piece and they're the other puzzle piece and it matches, it just matches. And not to say that you have to be with this person, it's more so like, that's what a connection feels like. It's just like, this person just understands you. And say that this is a new situation. The thing that you need to pay attention to know if, okay, I feel this way, I felt like everything was going great, I felt like I connected really well with this person, I felt very connected to this person, I felt very drawn to this individual, but I'm wondering, are they feeling the same way? And if it's a genuine situation and it's natural, and I stress that because if it's a thing where you're overly seeking out a connection or you're overly wanting things to work, it's something that you just end up knowing. Like, you can literally feel it on the inside, to where you're not gonna be in a state of panic or, feeling really troubled. Like, oh, does this person like me the way that I like them? It's like, when it's genuine and it's a true connection, you literally do just feel it. But I also acknowledge the fact that us as people can sometimes just wonder, you might really feel that, but you're just wondering, like, is there any other indication to where, okay, I know that this person also feels that. It's definitely something that you feel deep on the inside of your body. If you look at you and this person's connection, think about how it got started and think about how you felt during the whole process. Think about whether or not you found yourself to be in any state of scarcity, or was it just a natural flowing thing? More so like, okay, I'm attracted to this person, I am interested in getting to know this person further, I've seen that we have some basic interest and I'm wanting to take it further to get to know them even more. it's just things that you don't even necessarily have to try on. It's like, oh my gosh, like, me too. Or, oh my gosh, like, I thought I was the only person that was interested in that sort of thing. Or I thought that I was the only person who thought that sort of way. That's a really good way too as well. If you found that you and this person intellectually connect, because sure, people can connect on a basic level where they might have the same favorite color, they might like the same foods or like the same aesthetic, they might like the same areas, but intellectually is really what you will find will reveal if it's a real connection or not, and if that's something that's going to be reciprocated. Whenever it comes to that, I feel like it's very important to realize what a real connection is. A way to identify if a connection is real or not is simply by how it feels energetically, but also recognizing certain qualities about the connection. One quality, if you guys connect intellectually, of course it's important to make sure that there's the basics where, okay, I find this person physically attractive, I might like how this person speaks, I might like how this person dress, or this person and I also enjoy the same areas, we enjoy the same hobbies. Those things are also important. But for a connection to be sustainable, it depends on how well mentally, intellectually you connect. And how to know that you are connected intellectually, your way of thinking is the same, you know? The way that you think about the way that the world is to your own personal self, and the way that you think about relationships, even to the extent of how you feel about personal development. Does this person know anything about emotional intelligence? Is that something that's important to that person? Does that person have any values? Does this person have any restrictions or boundaries? How does this person feel about careers? Or how does this person feel what the purpose of life is? There's a lot of different things that you can ask. It's mainly about the depth of it. How deep of a connection do you have intellectually? By asking deeper questions with substance, you know. The surface level questions are some importance as well. It's all a part of the process, but just having surface level connection is not usually a real connection in the sense of, okay, this is something that can be taken to the next level. It's really determined by how deep of a connection you have intellectually and how deep those questions get. And then obviously if those questions align, if those answers align with each other. And some people might try to skip over that, especially if they are in a state where they have a scarcity mindset about having connections. And so they'll try to take any type of connection. They'll take whatever they can get and, you know, might chalk it up as, okay, this person and I have a lot of things in common. That must mean that this is a deep, real connection. But what they'll find is that person maybe won't reciprocate it. And it might be because the depth of the relationship, the depth of the connection was not deep at all. It's surface level. It's normal to want to connect with someone, and it's normal to ask if the connection is real. I do mean it when I say that I do feel that questions, if you're questioning something, sometimes that's an indication that whatever you're asking is, like, the answer that you don't want to hear is the actual truth. With connections, if you're having to ask if it's something real or if it's reciprocated, it might not be, because a lot of times whenever it comes to real relationships and real connections, it is something that you do know and that you do feel on the inside. But let's just say if you're the type of person that just hasn't figured out what types of things to look for or to pick up on to be able to recognize if it is a real connection or not. It really is just about how deep the connection gets. If it's on a deeper level, if there's actual depth to it, if there's actual substance within that connection, then it's something real. If it's something that falls under the surface level, if it's really basic, if there wasn't any deep questions, if there wasn't any deep answers, if the energy was off in a sense as well, I feel as human beings, there are a lot of people that's capable of reading energy, and it's like you can also tell by the energy that's giving off by a person. Although I do acknowledge that sometimes there's people that will try to be nice in the situation, so they'll behave in a certain type of way as if they enjoyed it, and they might have enjoyed the connection or that time being. They might have enjoyed whatever was going on, but that doesn't mean that they felt a real connection. It was more so they just continued to enjoy the moment, you know, and then decided, okay, this isn't for me, you know. But I feel that a lot of times whenever it comes to the connections that are intellectual and have depth to them, they are usually reciprocated. And by that I mean that the other person also feels that way as well. And it's also a thing of whatever kind of connection that you want to have. For me personally, something like that, open communication where you're asking someone. But I also understand that there's some people that may be at a point where they're not the type of person to be honest about that because they want to spare someone's feelings, and so they might tell you that they do feel a connection or that they do feel the same way, and the whole time they actually don't. They just don't want to hurt your feelings or something, and so that's why you would probably want to have discernment to be able to tell, like, is this real or not? Just look for those signs as far as how deep the connection got, and just pay attention to body language as well. And also, it's just a thing of you got to move forward, because all of this could happen. This is why I talk about this a lot in my videos, because there's always going to be positive and negative. Something like that could happen, and then you move forward and something changes. But a lot of times, again, if it's the ones where it's strong intellectual connections, then it's real. There's a lot of real connections that might not mean romantic connections. If it's a thing of wanting to know if it's a romantic connection, that's different, you know. Romance, there's a lot of different things that play into that. Key takeaways from the video: if you're feeling connected to someone, if you're feeling a connection, are they feeling it also? Does this person also have those same exact feelings? Is it reciprocated? Do they feel the same way about you as you do about them? A lot of times you should be able to recognize that within yourself. How deep of a person are you? How deep of a connection do you have with yourself? I feel the deeper that you get with connecting to yourself, you'll be able to recognize that in other connections with other people. And also just look for how deep of a connection, how deep of questions have you been able to explore with that specific connection. You know, whenever it comes to romance or romantic connections, it's like, it's really about the foundation. How did it start? I'm not talking about, you know, trauma bonding where you guys relate on all the trauma that you've been through, all the hurt that you've been through, and it's like a serious thing, and that is a deeper thing to a certain extent. I'm not talking about building a relationship off of something like that or building a connection off of something like that. But it's just a matter of how deep are you willing to get to know someone? How deep do you know yourself? How far are you willing to explore? And, you know, how honest are you? Honesty and genuineness and authenticity. And that's why I say the whole thing, how well do you know yourself? Because as authentic as you could possibly be, and that's how you show up whenever you communicate with people, non-romantic relationships, non-romantic connections, or romantic connections, that also will be put on the forefront as well, you know, with the authenticity of the situation. And a lot of times you can really feel it. You could recognize those signs though. If you resonated with anything I spoke about in this video, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing so that this video reaches someone who may also need to hear this message. Thank you and bye.